Hello there everyone, welcome back to another video about a children's trading card game, and as you can see from the title, for once the kid slander has to stop because my man is pretty good in the One Piece trading card game. So as you can tell from the title, I'm going to be giving my tournament report and deck profile for my locals tournament which happened yesterday. Here was the promo I got for my entry, which as you can see, that's the good one, so I was pretty happy with that, but I was a bit happier when my winner promo was exactly the same. So there you go, there's the clickbait. Let's go ahead and get started with the tournament report and deck profile. So I'll begin with the deck profile because I know that's what you're all here for and that's what's going to get me the views. Oh, I should say I also got a neuter pack for entering. And then we'll discuss the tournament, but so I have a slight chance of keeping you around for that. This was a 59 player locals, which is bigger than many regional championships I've been to. So yeah, it was a pretty big boy. It was 6 rounds, and I will discuss more of that as we go through the list. As we go through the list. But let's go ahead and get started. So for the 1-drops, and we'll go from right to left here. 4 copies of Momonosuke. This card is really good. Less targets for Wano in this deck, but the fact that you search for your Okiku is kind of crazy, and the fact that you've got a 2K as well in Izo, which is an amazing card, is really nice. Then we got 4 copies of Bonnie. I think both of these are fairly self-explanatory. They are the best searches in the game, best consistency tools. Green has an insane card pool, and these two are part of that reason. And then rounding out the 1-drops, we've got 4 copies of Beige. This is for your chump blockers, which you need. I mean, it's a staple in every deck. On to the 2-drops. So here we've got Scratchman Apu. This is a 2K Supernova, and that's the only reason we care about it. Then we've got 4 copies of Killer. This card is absolutely amazing. It is a chump blocker, but you can guard with it from your hand, and you slap a Don onto it, and it's drawing you a card. And, you know, that is absolutely phenomenal. This is an incredibly good card. Then we got 4 copies of Nekomamushi. This card is also absolutely amazing. It's just out here doing the most for you. Resting these big blockers is so important. And the fact that it's searchable with Momonosuke, and it's good because when you play it, a lot of the times your opponent is also going to have a Bonnie or a Momonosuke, so it's a 3K, you can just throw into one of those. You can don it up too, and it hits, though rarely does that happen. This is just a really good card to allowing you to remove threats early game and remove blockers late game. Then we've got 1 copy of Killer. I may bump this up. This is just a nice, it's searchable, and it's just good against to deal with certain threats. And we've got 4 copies of Izo. This is a 2K, but it also can rest 4 costs or lower. This card in the Doffy matchup is so important because they are absolutely spam blockers. And I'll talk more about the Doffy matchup later because it was the first time I'd played it, and I had to learn pretty quick. But it is critically important. Then we got probably the best card in the deck, 4 copies of Okiku. This card is unreal strong. Resting a 5 cost or lower is ridiculous. It hits basically everything. Yeah, I mean, this card is insane. Obviously, no counter, so that is a really big drawback, but searchable with Momonosuke, so, you know, you're going to see it. Then you got 1 copy of X-Drake. This card is really nice, and I didn't get to use it very often, but I probably would want to bump it up. I think, you know, KOing 4 or less, especially into Doffy, is really good, because you get this after they use a Doffy effect, it's invalidated, and you've just established a 6K on the board. So this is a phenomenally strong card, and I'd play more copies of this to improve the Doffy matchup. Speaking of the Doffy matchup, or just in general, Law, this card in general is fantastic. I don't think it's good in Kid. I played it once or twice yesterday, and every single time I did, I was dissatisfied with the results. I regret playing this card, and I would happily trade it into X-Drake in a heartbeat. Then we got 3 copies of Hawkins. Now, I didn't need to play the Kid Mirror. I actually didn't play it once, but if you do not play this card, you instantly lose the Kid Mirror. And even outside of that, this card is so strong. The removal you get from here, you just get free, it's constant free removal. You slap 3 Dons onto this and you're swinging in for 9. I mean, you're just taking cards out of your opponent's hand for free every single time. Like, you're either removing units from board, you're removing a 1K if you're swinging into something big, a 2K if you're swinging into something big, and then you can just go face and either take a life or apply a huge amount of pressure. Phenomenally powerful card. Then we got 4 copies of 7-Drop Kid. This card is insanely good, but you do need to be in a good position to use it. It's not an instant win button or anything. And in some matchups, such as against blue, you don't want it. And there was so much blue yesterday that I think I really would, I would probably knock this guy down to 3, just because, you know, it's a really powerful card, but it's so bad in the blue matchup, and that's already difficult anyway. It's like a dead draw, and I made the mistake of playing it in my 3rd round, and that's the only round I lost because I'd never played the matchup before, so yeah. And then we've got 2 copies of Kid 8-drop. I don't think I need to explain why this card is so amazing. You're all well aware. I would probably trade 1/7 into 1/8 at least. And then onto the events. Double Punk Gibson. I really like this card. I think it's really, really nice. Resting something like this is really good. The problem is it can be played around by your opponent, especially if they're playing with lots of rushes, but it is a really, really good card, and it did save my bacon on more than one occasion. 1 copy of Straw Sword. This will be being bumped up. This card is incredibly good, and your leader is so strong that fundamentally having a Straw Sword or 2 to just remove blockers and then being able to go face is probably going to win you the game on a lot of occasions. And finally, we've got 2 copies of Paradise Waterfall. This card is amazing. Some of the best combos, of course, are you block with 7-cost Kid, and then you Paradise Waterfall to keep your 7-cost Kid alive, and then you untap it so you can block with it again. Once you do that once, it's a high that you frankly never experience ever again. So that is the list. And now I'm going to go ahead and give you the tournament report, but if that's all you were here for, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more One Piece content. Dude, 75% of viewers are not subscribed. Are you kidding me? So yeah, change that. Right, let's talk about the tournament then. So this was a 6-round tournament, which was significantly more than I was expecting. I was expecting it to be 4 to 5, but then I guess, you know, 60-odd players does do that. So round 1, I should also say, and I'm aware a lot of you are watching now, it was quite a surreal experience walking out of the train station, and literally I wasn't even out of the train station, and someone said they had watched my videos, and like they literally turned around and were like, "Do you make YouTube?" And I was like, "Oh wow, that was weird and cool and kind of surreal." And then walking into the locals, like I think it was like 6 or 7 separate people in separate instances. Were like, "Oh yeah, I watch your videos, man," or like, "Oh, do you make YouTube videos and stuff?" Like, so that was really cool. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the support, guys. And if you ever do see me in public or recognize me, please do come up and say hi, because yeah, it was a really nice feeling. So that really made my day. Thanks. Anyway, let's go ahead and give the tournament report. So round 1, I was against Law, and this was actually relatively easy. My opponent had an opportunity to deal with my 8-cost Kid with his 5-cost Luffy on board, and didn't. The correct play was for him to slap all 10 of his Dons onto it and just go for it, and that would have made the matchup a little bit more challenging, but he didn't do that. He ended up using Law ability and doing some other things, and from that point on, he had kind of lost the game because he was not able to deal with my 8-cost Kid, and I'd accrued too much advantage. Round 2, I was up against Kaido. The Kaido player did nothing for the first 3 turns of the game, so as you can imagine, I won that one. He had like no guard in hand. I was still at 5 life. Like it was one of those ones where it's like, this is the poster child example of why you don't want to play Kaido at an event, because shit like that happens. Round 3, I was up against Doffy. Incidentally, this was the guy who ended up going EXO and winning the entire event, so can't say that, you know, that's too bad, my one loss being to the guy who won the entire thing. This was also the first time I had played the Doffy matchup, and as I alluded to earlier, I made the really bad mistake of playing down a 7-cost Kid for turn, and my opponent, exactly on curve, played down his Mihawk, bot decked it, and the tempo loss there was pretty much impossible to recover from. I really was quite ahead for most of the game, and making that mistake absolutely did cost me the game. And certainly my opponent said that they'd been holding it in their hand for the entire game, waiting for it. So, you know, good play on their part, but a horrible misplay on mine as well. I was able to make up for it in round 4, where I was up against Doffy again. And this time I was able to take the dub. I was much more careful with what I did, and this happened where I did draw the 7-cost Kid and I just didn't play it. Yeah, I think having played the matchup at least once before, I played the first game as well a bit too controlly. This game I was more aggressive, and that worked out well for me, and I ended up winning round 4. Round 5, I was up against Doffy again. At this point I was getting a little bit sick of it, once again, I was able to take that game, and I think I was going to get much more used to the matchup, much better at playing it. But both games were quite close, rounds 4 and round 5. But I definitely do think my experience in round 3 helped me win that. And then finally, round 6, it was a bit of an incident where me, my opponent, and another table, we all sat on the wrong place, and none of us noticed. So this ended up being that I placed 5th overall because they weren't able to put in the results properly because of the Bandai app. This wouldn't have been an issue, right? But because the Bandai app didn't let them make changes to the pairings, I ended up getting a draw for round 5 when I should have had a win. So yeah. So I won the game. It was against Red Luffy. And as many people correctly called me out on, I did put it in C tier. Now, in my defense, that was C tier right now before we have the promos, right, which are a major part of why Red Luffy is good. So I will take that defense, but I will also say I definitely did underrate the power of that deck. C tier was overly harsh even without the promos. I think it's like an A tier deck, frankly, even without the promos. So yeah, definitely I will take that L on that. I'm more than happy to do that because this was a tough match. Now, thankfully, I was able to establish my 8-drop kid and keep it protected. I played like 3 of the 7-cost kids throughout the game. It was down to the wire. I was on 0 life for like 4 turns, but thankfully my opponent was unable to get the really big hits in that he needed to deal with my kid, and I was able to swing that game around. But it was really close and it was really stressful. Overall, I think it was a really fantastic experience. The tournament was organised very, very well. Everyone was really friendly. I had a really fun time. The 2 people I came with, we all topped together, so that was quite nice. It was good to get confirmation that I don't suck at the game. Yeah, it's called the Brotherhood Games. Highly recommend it as a One Piece Locals. I had a fantastic time. And I'm really looking forward to attending many more. Overall, there are changes I would definitely make to this list. I think it's a really, there are definitely optimizations that can be made into the Doffy matchup, which is your worst matchup. And I'm not as confident in this being the definite best pick for an event anymore, but I do think it is really, really strong. And anyone who takes Green Kid is, I feel, is going to do well. Though there were not that many Green Kids. If memory serves, the top 8 was first place Doffy, second place was Blurple Kaido, which I do think the guy playing Blurple Kaido probably got a bit lucky because I've tested that deck quite a lot. It's not very good. And once players learn how to adapt to it, it gets destroyed very quickly. Third place was a Law, I believe. Then 4th place was a Zoro. Then 5th place was me and Kid. Also tied 5th place was my friend Luke with Law. And also tied 5th place was my other friend, Rob, who had taken Kid as well. And then in 8th place, finally, was, I believe, another Zoro. So that is it for this video. I really hope you guys found this useful. Let me know what changes you would make to the deck profile. If you were there at the event, I know some of you have commented on my channel post about the tournament report, which I did there. Please do say hi. It really was lovely meeting you all. And I am excited for more locals. Please do subscribe to the channel for much more One Piece content as well. I will be doing a lot of deck profiles coming up over the next few weeks, so you definitely want to hit the bell so you're notified when each one of those comes out. Every leader, that's my goal. I'm going to try and do one for every single leader before the Treasure Cup, and certainly an updated purple one for the Treasure Cup format, but I'm going to do a purple one now as well. That's it. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate your support. A new mic is coming when I can afford it, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Cheers.